up, YouTube? We got a balance changes update dropping today with some huge nerfs to some of the best brawlers in the game, and also a small buff to Crow. But we're also going to talk about what brawlers didn't get balance changes that really kind of need them. Let's do it. Alright, let's get into it. And of course, let me know your opinion on all the balance changes down below. What should they have done actually, or did they do pretty good? Let's start off with the only buff that's happening in this balance change, and that goes to Crow and his new gadget, the slowing toxin gadget. The duration of that slow has now been increased by 1 second. It used to last 2.5 seconds, now it's going to last 3.5. Personally, I think this was a good change. It was a kind of really mediocre / pretty bad gadget, and now hopefully you will actually use it over the shield gadget, which is really good, and use that. So now each gadget maybe has a place. Now use the shield in a showdown, in any really aggressive mode, and maybe in 3v3. Hopefully this is now a good gadget. We'll have to see. Now into all of the nerfs, and there are some big, really big ones to some of the best brawlers. Starting off with Gale, who's getting 2 nerfs. First of all, his attack damage is getting a huge hit, about a 12.5% nerf to his total attack damage. This is an insanely big nerf to his damage, but he's also getting another nerf, and it's another big one, and this one to how fast he charges his super. It's now going to take 2 extra snowballs. Used to take 10 snowballs, now it's going to take 12, so a 20% increase in how much it's going to take you to charge that super. So not only is he getting a really big nerf to his damage, but also a really big nerf to how fast you can charge his super. And to be honest, I think those are both really good nerfs for Gale. He was insanely overtuned. I mean, he felt like a shotgun brawler with how crazy high damage output he could do, so I'm glad his damage is getting reduced. And he could spam that super a lot, and it got a really big buff before because it removed the knockback, which is good. I'm glad they did that, but it also became really strong. So now, this should put him... Honestly, I'm not sure how good he's going to be because those are 2 huge nerfs. He might still be, not bad, but he's definitely not going to be a great brawler in my opinion. Alright, next nerf to another great brawler, and also a huge nerf to Mr. P. I mean, these are meta-changing nerfs. Mr. P's home base health, the thing that spawns out the porters, is getting a 20% health nerf. That's really big. Over 20%, 21.4, and he's also getting a nerf to how much health the porters have. Now, about a 6.7% nerf to the health of that. Not crazy big nerf for that, but still it'll be noticeable. And of course, with revolving door, I think that porter health nerf was kind of needed because revolving door, it just is so annoying. Maybe some brawlers can counter Mr. P pretty well, and they're going, all right, whatever, not a big deal. But if you're like a B or a Mortis, or there's so many brawlers that just cannot take on Mr. P with revolving door. It's like they may as well quit the game. So these are good nerfs to the one thing that was kind of really overtuned about Mr. P. We'll see. He's still going to be a good brawler in my opinion, but we'll see exactly where it falls. I think he'll end up being better than Gale, but that's about it. Now this next nerf goes to a brawler who didn't need a nerf, but this specific gadget, I think it's fair it got nerfed, and that's Piper's new gadget. Got a nerf of the range that it can home on someone by 15%. Now, to be honest, I don't know the exact range that this ends up being afterwards, but it's still going to be pretty far, and you could do some crazy stunts with this gadget before, and it was definitely kind of overtuned. It was kind of like a cheating aimbot in a way, but look, it's still going to be a really good gadget. I don't think this is going to be a super noticeable nerf, but it is, I think it's a good nerf, and that's about all there is to say for it. Now this next nerf, and actually the last brawler getting nerfed, although there are some other changes coming to a mode, Surge is getting a really big nerf. That's right, the big 3 brawlers are all getting really huge nerfs, and Surge, of course, is getting some as well. Now he's getting a health decrease of about a 10%. So this is definitely going to be noticeable. He's not a crazy high health brawler, so he's going to be more of a glass cannon now. And of course, with a brawler who wants to stay alive to keep his upgrades, this is a really impactful nerf for him, getting his health nerf. But he's also getting a nerf to basically his first star power. It's not described as such, but it is, because his main attack projectile split. When his attack projectile splits off, that range is now reduced by 25%. And I think this is going to be really, really noticeable. And I think this is also a good nerf because that first star power is so much better than the second one because of how many hits it would allow you to get more and more supers and also just deal more damage. That's a good thing too. So this is a really big nerf to Surge as well. Big health nerf and big range nerf for his projectiles. So it might be a little bit harder for him to charge up those upgrades and also keep them afterwards because he's going to have less health. He's still going to be a good brawler, I think. I think he'll probably be impacted. Well, him and Mr. P probably be impacted the least. Of course, that is 2 of the 4 brawlers being nerfed, so kind of a moot point. But anyways, all right, let's keep going. Super City Rampage is getting some changes. More like kind of bug fixes, but also I'm interested Supercell went this route. One thing they're doing is now if you reach the max time in Super City Rampage, you will automatically lose. You will lose. If you reach 13 minutes and 14 seconds, you lose. Because this used to be a huge thing, and it was in Robo Rumble too, where you would just stay alive the whole time. Or, I mean, people do this in boss fight even. There was if you have 2 Gales in your team, you jump pad back and forth, and you just get to 13 minutes, 14 seconds, and you win. Because that's as far as Supercell allows you to go, and the game just ends. And usually if it ends, it's victory. They didn't say they did it for boss fight, so we'll have to see. But now in Super City Rampage, you can't glitch your way out of it. They also did end up fixing a bug where the monster would not attack players when he was enraged if he was at exactly 75% health remaining. That bug has been fixed. Honestly, didn't even notice that. It's kind of a very specific health number. It's like, no, okay, keep him at 75%. He's going to not attack us for 3 seconds here while he's enraged. Okay, great, good job. I don't know, but that's fixed. Well, all right, overall, I think as far as nerfs go, they pretty much knocked them out of the park. Maybe they weren't exactly perfect, but they nerfed the right brawlers. They nerfed the big 3, and they gave them really big nerfs, and I'm glad they did it, and the meta should be in a lot better place. We should see some new brawlers rise up that were countered by those brawlers and didn't get any balance changes, and those become a lot better. We'll see. But what else could they have done? What other brawlers need arguably balance changes that are just out of the meta and have been for a long time? There's actually a couple that I think Supercell really overlooked that should be changed. First of all, an immediate one that has been introduced recently is Bo's new gadget. Personally, you combine Bo's new gadget with his stun star power and it is kind of definitely broken in a lot of ways. Not only can you get an insane amount of damage if all 3 mines hit, that's an instant 6,000 damage, and if they're still alive, they're stunned, and maybe you're even hitting multiple people. Or even if you're just hitting one person with 1 mine, that's still 2,000 damage and they're stunned, so you're charging up your next super a little bit, and then of course they're stunned, so you can attack them and charge up even more. There's a lot of really broken things about this. Personally, I don't know how you nerf specifically a part of the gadget besides just reducing the amount of uses from 3 to 2. You could add a delay to how quickly it activates, but one of the game developers actually mentioned a while ago that adding delays just feels like you're adding lag to the game, and it doesn't always feel very good. And so maybe adding delay isn't the best option, and I can understand that reasoning. So all I can think of is reduce the uses from 3 to 2. But going on, some other brawlers really kind of need buffs that have just been freaking out of the meta. I mean, what about like Shelly? Yeah, she's the beginner brawler, so she's easy to use, and she counters tanks. But it better be a really tanky map, because otherwise you do not really want to play Shelly. I mean, okay, maybe if it's Brawl Ball, most of the maps, you know, not bad pick, but a lot of times Shelly is just really outshined, and she's not even often, well, sometimes she's the best tank counter, but not always. I mean, even Ems is a much more well-rounded brawler in so many different ways. I'd almost rather always have an Ems than a Shelly, if you're going to ask me for a tank counter. I mean, she needs some sort of buff, in my opinion. I think a health buff might be pretty good, allowing her to get within range of people without dying as quickly, maybe. I mean, it's not really like she needs a health for tanks. It's just to allow her to do more things. You could argue a real speed buff, that would be fine too. Another brawler I think needs a buff, and that's been a bad brawler for a long time, is Jessie. Jessie's felt super mediocre for a really long time. They added in a new gadget for her. It's a cool gadget, but it's not that great. Personally, it doesn't add a lot to Jessie. That slow gadget is honestly more reliably useful. Of course, you can use the speed one in Heist and you have the bounce star power, but the it's not the better star power, so you're really kind of wasting two things to make a mediocre result. There's so many mediocre things about Jessie. You could buff her health by a good amount, maybe, but maybe it should be damage. Probably not damage because she can bounce multiple people, so my thought is it's either health or reload speed, or maybe you just go with the turret buff because that's kind of the best part about her, and she has so many things attributed to the strength of her turret that would maybe make her a more viable option. And if you kill her turret, though, you can counter. Another brawler that, in my opinion, deserves a buff is Bull. Bull, I mean, that's one of the things. There's kind of a logjam, I think, at the tank position. There's a lot of tank brawlers who fill similar roles, similar styles. El Primo is like a Bull with a slightly shorter range, and he can pick exactly where his super lands. Of course, maybe Bull is better than El Primo in like heists, but pretty much everywhere else, you probably want El Primo. Maybe not in like gem grab, but actually probably so. There's a lot of ways where Bull is just an inferior tank to almost everyone except in heist. He's a good brawler in heist, but really that's the problem, is that's it with Bull. So what are you gonna do with Bull? His super is really awkward. I think probably the best way to buff Bull is increase his health, because he has two health-related star powers. This will allow both of them to trigger sooner, and overall, that might be the best way to buff Bull. It doesn't exactly make him a lot more stronger, depending on the amount of health, I guess, but that's probably the best direction. But let me know what you think. What other brawlers deserve buffs or nerfs? Is Mortis on your list? Let me know down below. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out another great Brawl Stars video right over there that I'm sure you'll also enjoy. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you later. Peace.